Hello everyone, are you there with me? Can you please confirm if my audio is good? I will open my camera just so that I can see you and you can see me. I'm very glad to be here. Hi and I see somebody from Czech Republic. I think it's first time you are here. I don't remember seeing anybody from Czech Republic, but you are very welcome. Hi Loki, Michael, and Marcos, and everyone who is here. I'm not going to say all the names. Derek and Alexandra and everyone. Very glad to be here with you. A couple of days ago, I was in a live session and I had a problem with my audio. So I wanted to be sure that you can hear me well, with good volume and no noise, no background noise. Otherwise, I have a backup microphone here, but I don't think the audio comes to you as loud as this one. So you can see me, Marcos, Infinite Being, you can see and hear. So, I am going to try and keep an eye because I am so focused on chatting with you guys. I don't read so often the comments. But if something goes wrong with my audio, you drop a line and I will try and look there once in a while. But let me welcome all of you. This is going to be a nice chat, I promise you, because I'm going to address your questions. Please, when you write down your question, what you want me to comment on, please write the question at the beginning so that it's easier for me to spot. I am by myself today here, so I have nobody else with me in the studio room, and I will be managing your questions. But it's going to be fun. One of the things that I believe it's a good tone for us to start our discussions is to bring the notion of being or becoming a multidimensional detective. And that is the angle that I want to bring here. Why is that the angle, Nancy? Because when I am answering your questions, I do not want only to answer something mechanical that is a superficial answer that will work for everybody. I want to try and go deeper into each question so that I can give you further details that are important to you. Otherwise, you ask Google. So don't need to ask Nancy, but Nancy is here to give you an expert vision based on my experience, which makes me consider myself an investigator, a multidimensional investigator. So that's why I'm saying we are multidimensional detectives. We want answers, we want to uncover what is behind each situation. We want to make sense of our lives, our life mission, our challenge, our goals, our aspirations, our traumas, but we want to make sense of it beyond, with a vision that is beyond just the physical world. Because we did not start existing when we were born. We started manifesting within this physical body when we were born, but our existence dates long before, because we were alive before being born, just not using this specific physical body. And that adds up a level of complexity that we need to acknowledge. And that's why each person is unique. And one of the things that made me detect that with more precision and uncover many details about that is my work with the Consciousness Compass session. Because within the Consciousness Compass, I could see how much little variations can make a huge difference to each person. And I want to bring to you who are here with me, either that you have been following me or this is your first time, I want to bring you notions of what sort of elements you can analyze in your situation to bring light into every moment, all of us, we have questions about who we are, what is important to us. And the first thing that you have to acknowledge, at least partially, if you do not have a broad vision of this at this point, is what is your truth? One of the things that I assume, if you are here with me, part of what is truth to you is, I believe physical life is not the whole of what exists in the universe. I don't think I just started existing when I was born and I will cease to exist when I die. I assume for you, this is part of your truth. Am I right? If you are watching this on replay later, let me know in the comments if you agree with this statement. Some people intuitively, they know, I know exists, something else exists, there's something beyond. Not necessarily they can spot or put into words exactly what. And I think it's very important that we do not jump into fantasies. We do not create in our minds some notion that there is a mystery, a conspiracy. Life is simply, plainly multidimensional. It's not only physical. The problem is that our awareness is limited. Our awareness or our lucidity, especially when we are manifesting through the physical body, and that's your condition and mine now, that's why you are watching this video. But when we are manifesting through the physical body, it tends to funnel our lucidity and funnel our knowledge. You know much more than right now you have in your brain. In terms of wisdom, in terms of what is important in life, who you are, what tools you have, what would be the best path forward to you. You know all of that inside of you, but the brain doesn't have it clicked right now. The sound is going bizarre. It's noise, right? Does it have a noise? You know what? I will simply jump into my backup audio, which is an excellent microphone. Excellent. But I don't like it very much. I find that it reduces a little bit the volume, but you will still be able to hear me very well. Give me just a second. I'll just connect here. And my camera and my audio here are also of quality, because when I do this here, I have to be certain that you can follow me and everything is good. But, so let me switch it. Just a second. I think it's switched already. Can you recognize I am with a different microphone now? And is it better? Improved already, right? Good now. Great. Great. So this mic is working well. Excellent. And so I'll pick up from where I stopped, because this is an introduction for us to be able to go deeper into this discussion. And I was saying, when we know, or when you know, what is your truth, what is part of your essence, who you are at the core, as a soul, as a consciousness, as a being, as a self, as a transcendental being, not as your driver's license tells you, not the age that you are now, not your physical identity, but your multidimensional identity, then you will have much clearer in your mind what are your limitations, what are the traps that you create for yourself, or that you have more predisposition of falling into, given certain situations, or if some sort of people is playing with you. So what sort of situation would catch you and makes you succumb, puts you down. This is what you want to know. Not because you are going to be blaming yourself, but because you are going to be smart. You will use your tools to try and counterbalance this. You will use your tools. Your tools are not what you have in the physical world only. It's much, much more. And you know that one moment that you create a consciousness shift, that you shift the manifestation of your energy, that you feel empowered, that you are very connected with your spiritual essence, you can make change and transform your life as you couldn't for many years before, even though you have been trying. But how do we tap into that? Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to go a step further. And if I can go even further and know me even better and have even greater tools, I want it. You want it. It's not just a matter of wanting. This is what life is about. We are here to improve ourselves, to get to know ourselves. That's why you are in this physical life. And what is very important is that you live well. You learn. But how can you learn if you do not see the lessons? Does it make sense? How can you learn if there are aspects that are pivotal in your manifestation, in your evolution, and you are not clear about what they mean? That's why I created the consciousness compass, and I use those strategies. And I wanted to bring this vision here to you. Those of you who want to know what the consciousness compass is, you can take a look at the description I have there. But it's a session, 101 sessions, in which I do a very deep study with whoever is there with me to try and find out all of the different elements that may be taking a role, operating in certain situations and producing whatever it is happening. So the point is, you need to sort out the greatest challenge of your life. But sometimes, some individuals, they don't even know what is the greatest challenge of their lives. And the greatest challenge is not necessarily what's more uncomfortable to you. Perhaps it is. Yes, and you have to sort it out. But sometimes you have your vision into sorting out something that is annoying or creating problems. But behind that, there is a characteristics. There is an energetic pattern. There is some sort of intrusion, spiritual intrusion. Or there is some sort of energetic information that is lingering, fluctuating around. And that is what needs to be sorted out. So that's why I want to answer your question. And of course, we are so limited here in terms of how much you can put into words when you ask a question and how much I can convey and pick up. But that is the idea of this session. So we will prepare ourselves to become, each of us and all of us, the best multidimensional detectives possible, because then we can see what is behind. And once you know what's behind, what forces are operating, then it's up to you to find out the right tools and apply them. But without knowing what is behind the appearance of things, you get nowhere. Nobody gets anywhere if we do not know what is behind each situation. So let's see how we can go here with our questions. So I hope that made sense to you. Question 2, I see some of you are question 2, question 3. Yes, please do this because I want to be sure to answer question 1 from everybody. And then I go to question 2. I hope the microphone will stay stable. Otherwise, I won't be able to see your message. Because, of course, now I'm going up here in the chat to see all of your questions. And I see one here without the word question, but it is a question. Do Ouija boards help with astral projection? It does not, no. Ouija board is a very ancient mechanism, like a technique, because in a way it's a technology, primitive, but it is a technology to try and communicate with spiritual beings. One of the problems that I see is that most people who play with spiritual Ouija board, most people who play with Ouija board, they do it as if it is at their choice only to connect with the spirits and stop, to ask something and only get the answer to the point they want. So it's most of the time out of curiosity, and that should never be the reason why somebody would use Ouija board. Actually, I would recommend not playing with a Ouija board unless there is a real need. But I keep wondering inside of my mind, what would be a very important reason to resort to Ouija board for anything? Because if you manage to expand your awareness, focus on your energy, you can communicate with spirits. It's not difficult, not through channeling. I'm not recommending channeling. I am saying you can communicate telepathically. But if you do not know your energy profile, the characteristics of your energy body and your chakras, and if you do not know what's your truth, how can you distinguish when some sort of thought comes and it's not yours? Therefore, you know you are communicating. That is the big challenge. Excuse me. But other than that, I see that Ouija board is more a curiosity. And I wanted to share some things with you because throughout these 3+ decades, helping people to grow and understand energy and understand the spirit world and everything, I have received some requests and have worked with some people who were in big trouble because of Ouija board. Why? Because I started answering this question by saying, somebody assumes they are in control. They call the spirit and they send the spirit away whenever they want. But that's not necessarily truth, not always. In many cases, the spirit comes and stays. In many cases, the spirit can even start creating poltergeist later on, producing nightmares. Because it's not up to you only, they are participating. Actually, the one or the ones that are in control of the situation are the spirits. Because if you want to move something in the board, who is moving? You. If it's you, it's not working. But if it's moving by itself, then it's working. Then it's under their control. And the more you connect and you get answers and you ask questions and you feel that presence, the more that presence can find ways to anchor in your environment. Which ways? The energy of some object, your own energy, the energy of your living room, whatever. And then later on, the game is over, but they are still attached to the environment. And this can create problems. I know of people who were really desperate looking for somebody to help them make that presence go away. And that was not so easy. Anyways, I have dealt with some of this. So I don't think it helps in astral projection at all. Spiritual presences are around basically the whole time. That is a generalization, but that is true. The difference is how close, how far, with how much of energy coupling with you they would be. What type of spiritual presences? What sort of connection do they have with you? But other than these variables that must be analyzed, there are spiritual presence connected to us. Why? Because it's very logical. Life is not physical. You are breathing. You are in contact with the external world. We have to touch things. We have to eat. We are in contact with the external world. But the external world is not only physical. It's multidimensional. The spirit world is here right now. Of course, not the whole of the spirit world. Some layers and some specific components, but it is connected with you the whole time. So, would Ouija board help? No. If there is a good spiritual presence there that could help you have a lucid, wonderful, out-of-body experience, Ouija board is not going to help to make any difference of that. Your energy connection with that consciousness or that spirit is what would make difference. I hope I have answered, because I think that is a very interesting question. Brings a lot of different angles. It brings a lot of different angles, from energy connection, energy effect, spiritual presence, out-of-body experience, and all of that. And there is so much that needs to be understood in this case. So that's why I think that is a very important question. By the way, speaking of astral projection, for those of you who are not yet informed of it, in April we are doing a retreat. We call it a consciousness spa, because it's more than just energy work, more than just leaving the body, but it is more than just train some psychic or sensitivity capacities. It's encompassing a lot of different angles of this multidimensional reality we live in. So if you are interested, actually I don't think I have information in the description about this, but I will write here the email you have to write to ask for information. Okay, so let me put here. So that is a IAC, International Academy of Consciousness event, but I will be there. I am helping, organizing and planning, so that is going to be interesting for those of you who can be with us. Thank you. Let me find the next question. Just a moment, please. I have to go back there. Hello, German. I see your name is here. Wonderful. Some of you I know from long time, right? We haven't had a chance to meet in person when I was in Miami last time, right? But almost we did. No problem. Next time. Marius, how is it, let me bring the question. How is it possible to be in equilibrium with all our chakras? How we can be sure, I suppose, all our chakras? Marius, we are there is a continuation. I clicked by mistake, but all our chakras are opened. Energy are going free everywhere in our bodies. So let me give you some information. Actually, I am going to prepare a course on chakras. Not prepare, because I have a very well established information about this. The course exists. I'm going to record it at my first opportunity. But chakras are present in our manifestation the whole time. We are not taught to recognize it. Most of the time when we study about energy, spiritual abilities, meditation, and we hear about chakras, it's almost a little bit fuzzy and complicated, because we get to assume that we are supposed to sense chakras in a certain way, or have clairvoyance to see them, or have very specific feelings of the chakras. And this, I think, brings confusion, because it brings some notion to this idea of chakras or energy centers of our energy body, a notion that is like, it's complicated. You need to develop to sense it, to be able to use the energy of your chakras. And to me, that is not true at all. All the time, we are sensing and making use of the energy of our chakras. But the problem is that if you or anybody would not be trained to recognize what is a chakra manifestation, which sometimes is a sensation, but sometimes it's not a sensation, it's a reaction. Sometimes it is like a feeling or a pattern of thought that comes when that chakra is stimulated, activated. There are many different angles of this. And once this is identified, we will sense it. But let me bring this to a very pragmatic, down-to-earth observation here, that is, right now, do you sense your liver? Do you sense your adrenal glands? Your stomach? To which extent you sense the blood circulation? You can sense sometimes. You can sense if you pay a lot of attention. But usually you don't sense it. But it's there. There is a function and it's operating. But if you have a liver problem, and I'm saying liver because we normally don't feel pain in the liver, which is a problem, but if the liver is a problem, you will get the signs of it. You will have your mouth bitter, you will have other different problems that will make you consider if that could be an issue with your liver. Chakras, the same thing. Sometimes you sense them very clearly. Some of them, you just pay attention and focus, it's here, I know. Other times, some of them, they are so activated, they are shouting, I'm here, or I'm in pain. Because sometimes energy produces a sensation like pain, it aches. But in the same way, if there is a chakra that is not so easy for you to sense, for whatever reason, then we have to become a multidimensional detective to analyze what would be the reason. But if there is any chakra that's not easy for you to sense, you can evaluate if there is any situation that is more positive than average or less positive than average, or any sort of dysfunction in your chakra by analyzing what sort of consequence it is, or that type of energy in your chakra is producing to you. So how can we be aware of all of our chakras? Sometimes we are, because we are detaching from the body, and then we get to sense the energy body clearly. In some cases, some vibrational state produce such a strong sensation in all chakras at once, which, by the way, the vibrational state is a resonance of all of your chakras. So they are vibrating the same frequency, and they enter into resonance phenomena at that moment, and there comes a peak of vibration. So in these moments, you may be more aware. In other moments, you won't. So you have to learn what is a normal manifestation of your energy, so that you know when it's not normal. It's better than normal. Maybe there is some external force or something inside of you that produces a huge increment in how positive your energy is. Or if there is something that is more negative than usual, you will be able to study it. That is the idea. And Mario, it's not so easy question to answer, but I tried to give you the reasoning behind this, using analogies so that it illuminates a little bit how to apply all of this knowledge into everyday life when we are considering energy and not the physical world. or the physical body, right? So let me see other questions. Hello, Vinit. How are you doing? It's very nice to see you here. Let's go to your question. How to know vision in astral travel? Or is it just our mind imagining? No. There is vision in astral travel. There is no such a thing as vision with the eye. So you won't see somebody in between lives or in an astral projection needing glasses, but there is vision. And the vision operates in a sense that is very different than vision here. It's more based on lucidity, level of awareness at that moment. But you can be in an out-of-body experience, and I can be in the same environment with you at the same time, and both of us, we are going to see the same thing. So it's not imagination. It is possible to interfere with what one is seeing based on imagination. So it's possible that you are projected, you imagine something, and you start seeing that in the middle of the scene that you are witnessing or participating in. But this does not mean everything is imagination. Some structures, some places, they are very solid in that specific dimension, and it's not even possible sometimes to dismantle them. So let's say you see something negative, an object that is impregnated with not so positive energy in a certain dimension or inside your house, extra physical, it's not a physical object, but you leave the body, you see an object there. Is it possible, Nancy? It is possible. Is it common? No, not necessarily, but it is possible. And then you see that object and you try to destroy it. How do you destroy? If it looks like a glass, are you going to break it? How are you going to break it? It's not a glass. It's formed or made of non-physical energy. This breaks because this is made of glass. So it's sand that is heated, it's transformed, and it's breakable, not there. So if you have an object there and you want to dematerialize it, that's not exactly the word. You want to dissipate, you want to break the cohesion of the energy that is forming that so that it just evades, becomes something else. It's no longer aggregated in that way. You will, in some cases, try and do it, and that's very difficult. In other cases, other objects, very easily you can do it. So it exists. A non-physical world that is objective, it exists. I hope I could bring the wife of my answer, Vinit. Go there, observe it. Once I had a projection, I even think I have it described in this session that I have in my website that is called Stories. I think I described it there. But once I had the projection, and it had been, it's been a long time ago, but it had been my dream, in a sense of what I would like to do, to be able to create objects outside the body and transform things, because this is possible to do in some cases with some objects in some type of environment. So when I was outside the body, in my house, I kept trying to transform some objects and to create some. I couldn't create anything clear enough that I would be able to live there or manipulate with my para hands, the hands of my astral projection, astral body. But I tried also to create effects in some of the existing objects. And what was interesting is that if the object was non-physical, something that belonged to the astral dimension, I could interfere with it. But when I tried to play with objects that were physical, play in a sense of trying to make them change their form, change their appearance, make them glow, whatever. So I was using my energy to do experiments. But when I would do this and the object was physical, nothing would change. That was very interesting. So I'm saying so that you think, I'll go and do some experiments myself. What about? Let's consider it. Hello, Derek. Welcome. When we go back to our body from the astral, what does that look like to an astral observer? So let me rephrase, and I hope I understood your question. When you are in an astral projection, so you are back into the non-physical world, into the astral dimension, and somebody sees you, what your astral body looks like to that someone seeing you. It looks in a way that everyone will see the same Derek. Most of the time, it is the reflection of how you feel yourself. For people who are very used to have projections, because they are very conscious, they were sleeping and that's an out-of-body experience and it happens to them quite often. In many cases, they show themselves in their PJs. So they know they are, in the middle of the night. Some will show themselves with their working clothes. That's how they recognize themselves. But is it possible that you leave the body and you see someone that you used to live with in a past life? And when you see that being, that spirit, for you it's so important, so deep, and you hug, you remember that life so much that then your astral body starts getting the features of that life. It is possible. For how long? I'm not going to talk in terms of time here because we are talking about something that's not physical, but yes, for quite a few moments. But you, in your next out-of-body experience, you will look like Derek again, not like that one you were in a previous life. I'm trying to adjust my microphone because it's pointing outwards, and I know when this is the case, it doesn't catch my voice so well. Can you hear me better when I put this here in the center? I hope so. Oh, not so easy. I need an assistant for all of this. That would be a dream come true. I'm just checking here if there is any message regarding my audio. Because when you write better, I forgot about this. I should. Thank you. I already noticed sometimes I record and this is in a different position. Makes a huge difference. So I'll try and go back to where I was. Just reading your comments and smiling at some of them. Kim Free, can you explain the sound in ears before OBE? Absolutely, yes. When you start detaching from the body, you are not out yet. If you guys have my book, Astral Projection, which I am distributing free in an electronic form for now. So if you want to take a look at my website, nancytrivelato.com, Nancy with I, and you'll be able to download it. But what happens is that at the moment you start detaching from the body, your astral body, which was until then completely connected with a certain structure of energy connecting them both, it starts changing. It starts changing because it's almost like it starts cracking. Just a way of explaining something that is not like that because it's different dimensions. But in a way, we kind of feel like that. Sometimes we even feel a little bit like little twitches or like a Velcro. And among the sensations that we may have, this noise in our head. I wouldn't say in our ears. Why I don't say in the ears, I say inside the head. Because it cannot be confused with tinnitus, which is a physical thing that happens in the tympanus. It's a completely different thing. If it is non-physical, then it will be associated with this disconnection from the bodies. So that's why it happens. I have an article explaining this there in my website. It is there in the blog. If you guys want, you go there and I go deep into that. And I said, you mentioned tools. Could they be an example? Could be, for example, in let me see if you have any continuation. I don't know what you mean, ER. Could they be, for example, and I cannot understand your question, but tools are skills, abilities, sometimes even secret energy that can flow from inside of you that they are hidden. Why do I say secret? Because in our manifestation, it's not only about what we do. Somebody can come and say some words and produce no effect. Somebody else comes, say the same words, and everybody stops and listens to that. What is the difference? Energy, presence, force of presence, what comes with that message. And we all have certain types of skills, wisdom, ability, things that we have already learned and done in previous life that are locked inside. And while that's locked inside, we are just wasting resources. Dealing with problems, for example, is a very important tool. Some people cannot deal with problems. They go down, get very bad. Others, it's almost like it's part of them. They handle things in a little better way. Problem is problem. Problem is nice. No, problem is problem. But how we deal with it, what tools we have to deal with it, how we use those tools, that's what varies. So this is the sort of thing that I am referring to. I hope this clarifies. And hi Alexandre, how are you doing? I had experience where just after vibration state, I am projected somewhere, I don't know, usually an unknown apartment. There should be a continuation. Okay. Why did I end up in this particular place? It can be some sort of connection. Actually, there are many possibilities. I cannot say it is this, but I'm going to bring you what is normally the case, and you will analyze, because what generates this the most is connections, energetic connections, bonds, links, ties that are not obvious. What do I mean? If you go to your grandparents' house, it's obvious. You lived there, they were your grandparents, and somehow you ended up there. So you recognize why you ended up there. It's possible that your grandparents moved from one country to another, and then one day you end up in their house, in the new country they are living in. You've never been there, but projected you go there. Easy to explain, they are your grandparents. There is an energetic connection. But when this happens spontaneously, especially, think of it, if this is recurrent, because it happens to some people, they tend to return to the same place when they are projected, but that place is unknown to them, but it's a physical place. When this is the case, most of the time it is related with past life experiences or some sort of connection like spiritual presences or people who live with you in this lifetime who are connected with some sort of energy which connects you with that place. always there is some sort of energetic connection to bring you there, because we don't just end up appearing somewhere out of the blue. Something prompted that specific travel, that specific path that we followed to get to that place. So what is connecting you to that? Is this the decoration? Is there some sort of spiritual presence in this place? Does this remind you of something? Is this a place where you used to live? I do not mean the house, sometimes the neighborhood, where you used to live 2 lifetimes ago. All of these are real possibilities. You have to research it. But if it's not recurrent, I would just say, sometimes I end up visiting places I do not know why I get there, but I'll do my best to be attentive, to learn if I have something to learn, and not to let anyone or anybody deceive me when I am there. I say this because otherwise some non-physical presences may use your predisposition to end up going to a certain place just to lure you out of your body. All of this can happen, guys, but I wouldn't mind much based on what you described. I would just leave it be and see what future experiences brings to you, and then you keep adding to this scenario of all variables so that you can try and understand, make sense of what this is. Once, and I'm going to share personal experience, I watched something on TV. It was not positive, but it was not horror or anything like this. But it had a strange feeling, that specific series. And I never watched it. I just saw a little brief, oops, sorry guys. I just saw a little brief passage, and that called my attention because of this energetic aspect, which was clear to me from the first moment, from the beginning. So then, give me a moment. Now I think I am good. Yeah. So then, that night, I had the projection in which I went to a place that was very negative. I never been in a place like that, but I registered, I came back, I took notes because it was something to learn about. It was interesting, not positive, but interesting. Nothing happened to me, I just observed. So it's important that we are not afraid, but it's also important that we are not gullible. Just go out of curiosity and let things happen. Keep your mind centered and continue observing. Does it make sense? I hope it does. Loki, how are you? Question 1. Do you have any continuing relationship with beings out of the body on the astral? You mean do you, Nancy, or you mean do you in general? Everybody has some relationships that they are more prolonged. That does not mean a good quality. That does not mean a romantic relationship. That does not mean anything in specific. It just means that part of our relations are not physical, are non-physical. And I call that multidimensional relations. We have it. People that are connected with us from past moments, people that are connected with us because of some projections we have, because of a family member, and they are around and they play a role. So in this sense, that's what is that we want to know. But who, how they participate in your life, that's what you have to investigate. Your question is vague, so that's the best I can do with the question, okay? God, hello. What is the best way to protect yourself from psychic attacks? There are many different ways, and the best way is putting your energy body in a condition in which it is so cohesive, so stable. There's such an harmony in your energy that external things that are too dissonant to your energy won't be able to anchor, won't be able to penetrate and stay. They may reach you, but they won't stay. They won't penetrate. So that is the best thing. And there are techniques for this. The technique that I use, I recommend, I approve, and I have tested many times is called VELO, V-E-L-O. You have videos here in my channel explaining what is VELO. I think it's even in the description, and how to do VELO. So it's there. Those who want to perfect their technique, there is a course that is called VELO 101. But that is a technique that is very encompassing in its result. So it helps one to balance energy, align chakras, unblock, at the same time get rid of contaminations, and then become more sensitive. So that's why I love this technique for psychic defense. But I say there are many things because sometimes you do VELO and you practice and practice and practice. But there is an object that is inside your bedroom that is working as like a crystal. Why do I mean a crystal? Some sort of energies come to it and it helps spread, or it helps direct it into you. So is there something like this? If there is, you will sense it, you will know, you will have a feeling, you have an intuition. Don't guess based on appearance, because otherwise most people would say, this object is not beautiful, or this object, that friend X and X gave me. Well, it can be that the object is the problem, but sometimes it is deceiving, what you least expect. But that is an example. It doesn't mean necessarily there will be objects that work in this way, like dispersing negative energy into everyone's room. But you have to also resort to other things, not only your energy work. VELO will take care of it in terms of your self-defense, your strength, the harmony of your energy. But if there is something external, you have to keep an eye so that you cleanse that. Otherwise, you do your work, okay, next morning again, and then again, and then again. So what is prompting spiritual attacks to happen? Is there anything in the house? Is there anything at all, or maybe in the workplace or with some people? But most of the cases when this happens is just because the individual is very sensitive. When you are sensitive to the reality that is beyond the physical world, you will know what's going on, and it, in a way, makes it interesting for spirits who attack you to continue doing so, because you are aware of it. It is producing effects. People who don't sense, they suffer attacks. They will react, meaning it will affect them, but they don't know that is an attack. But if somebody sensitive like you received the same attack that the other guy received, which affected the other guy, hurt the other guy, but he doesn't have a clue, for him it's just a coincidence. For you, because you are sensitive, you know it's an attack, so you want to do something about it, and that emphasizes that energetic characteristics. People who are sensitive like this must, I will repeat, must find a good technique, a technique that does not bring side effect. Otherwise, you try to solve a problem, but you gain another. Some people, they do some rituals and some things that, okay, they are just changing the problem. I get rid of this, but I get someone else, I mean another spirit, to be around, generating a different sort of problem. And psychic attacks are awful because can make someone be in bed. That is true. Can create problems in so many different areas. But worse is when the psychic attack comes in disguised ways. It does not put one in bed, but it's contaminating the thoughts. It's contaminating the relationship with others around, and little by little transforming the person. That's a worse kind, because it's harder to identify it. Anyways, take a look in the material that I have. I think I even have a course discussing about this, how to identify when there are negative presences around. But that was a very interesting question. Thank you. I hope it makes sense to you, the sort of answer, and what is very, very, very important. And I always emphasize, no one has more power over your energies than yourself. But sometimes we are a little bit lost. What should I use first? And until we manage to balance out the situation and get out of the problem, it may take a while. But no one has more power than you. Okay? I hope it clarified. I'm a little bit lost in the questions here, guys. Make sure you always write questions, okay? Before. And I do not know if new comments come and it moves, but I am losing here. Let me find, where was I? I want to make sure I answer everyone, if possible. And then I have Infinite Being. How are you doing? Very nice to see you here, in person, in real time. In order to practice VELO, do we need to reach a sort of trance state before start practicing, like a Focus 10 for Moral Institute, or it's okay to be full awake? It's not only that you do not need any sort of trance, but it's more than this. You do not want. It's part of VELO that you are not in any sort of trance. I will explain why, okay? Because when you are doing VELO, you are exerting control over your energies. It's you assuming control of the energy of each chakra of yours. Primary, secondary, tertiary, all of them, plus assuming control of the quality and vibration of those energy. If you are in some sort of trance, you are not in your full capacity of using your decision, your will. You are sharing your decision, your energy with something else. You are more open to approach from spiritual beings, from other energies. You are more open even to be connected with the spiritual dimension. And many people, when they do VELO, I know because of some that came talk to me in the Consciousness Compass session, they say, I work with my energy before starting VELO so that I put myself in the best conditions so I can do VELO, so I can tune myself with this spirit world with positive energy so that I can do VELO. No, VELO doesn't require anything of this, and if this is done, it may interfere with the result of VELO, because instead of taking control of your energies, instead of being able to observe each detail of each chakra, when the energies flow, when it doesn't, what sort of impediment comes, what sort of thought would flow to your mind, how sort of feeling, instead of being able to observe that, the attention is on the energies around and on the trance and the type of feeling. Some people even go to the point of trying to activate their energy, produce a little vibration or a little connection, expand their energy before they do VELO. But VELO is the opposite. It's you moving, you by yourself, moving your energy inside your energy body, which is aligned. So I would say inside your body, exactly inside your body, as if it's going through all your bones, passing through all your veins and arteries and cells and go to the core. And you are doing it. You are controlling it with your attention, with your decision, with your will, with your focus on your energy body. Then, as a result, your energy gets more activated, you get unblocked. If there are some sort of contaminations, it can't stay for long. If you do VELO correctly, you will disperse it, it will go away. Some presences, spiritual presence that may be contaminating, may be negative, they will not be able to connect with you because you are changing the frequency of your energy from within. Some people say, can I just change my thoughts? Yes, sometimes it works. But if you are really under intrusion, if it's really some sort of presence that approaches you in a disguised way, or there is some energetic pattern that you do not recognize but is present, you won't be able. You change your mind, all it does is to make you get distracted. So you no longer are aware of interferences in the energy, in the spirit world, interference coming towards you. You just get distracted. You just concentrate on something else. Some people think, I'm going to create like a bubble around myself. You create a bubble. You are preventing yourself from observing what's really going on because there is no bubble. Energies penetrate. It's multidimensional. So the effect is more psychological for this sort of technique. And later on, the problem comes back. When you do VELO, it's much more objective. It's you exerting the capacity you have to command your energy. All of you who are here with me, if you want, take a look. I have a new course that I have created that's called Energy Mastery. Understanding the mechanics of energy techniques. Because if we understand the mechanics, we can do every technique with more proficiency, and you can know which technique to use when. So I hope I could address your question and clarify the point. No need to do anything. And when we say, for example, focus 10, I understand what that means. You are going to reach a certain space, you are going to try to produce inside of your mind a certain condition that hopefully will connect you with some sort of energy out. But in the case of VELO and controlling your energy, there is no hopefully. You know what's going on, you know who or what is close to you, what sort of interference is going on. Maybe you do not know right now. You are gaining experience in identifying your energy. But that is what VELO does. That is the whole point of VELO. Thank you. I hope I could answer your question properly. I'm going to question one of everybody, and then I come to questions 2, okay? If that is okay with you, so I can see more of you. I worked at a company where many employees were extremely angry at the CEO. One day I saw a brown fog following behind him. Could the anger cause this fog? It could. Barbara, absolutely. But there is another possibility that for some reason it seems to me more probable, but it's still a possibility. So what you said is a fact. But if the guy had not so good non-physical companions, spiritual companions with him, and his own energy is already polluted, people, the employees, will be even more angry at him than normally they would. Why? Because his energy, I'm assuming it's a his and not a her, but his energy would attract more of those negative thoughts and would make it more possible for those negative thoughts to be infiltrating in his aura. So it can be, but it can be also a pre-existing condition, something that was already present in his energy. And that is so difficult, right? When people do not know about energy, they end up hurting others without knowing. And that is so complicated. So I have German saying, we'll visit Portugal. I hope so. Then we'll finally meet there, right? Question. Me all. How to stop more powerful psychic from sucking our energy? You mean psychic people? More powerful psychic people from sucking our energy? I have been in so many situations that this was the case. I'm going to tell you the most crazy thing. Once I was giving a course. It was a consciousness development program, but in person, and I was in another country. I was in Romania in that specific condition. I'm trying to make my microphone as okay, better. So I was in Romania, and that specific program, that specific group of people was huge. We had like 60 students, and so many. And among them, there was one guy that I thought later perhaps he was spying or something like this. And I would be conducting the energy exercise, and he would defy me energetically. But he was sitting as a student. I mean, he was not saying anything. But I noticed that something was flowing from him. And when we notice, that's easy. That is easy because you know what you are dealing with. You will do VELO. So I was conducting the exercise. I quickly did a VELO, stopped his energy from being able to affect me at all. In this case, because he was in my class, interfering with what I was doing to teach and help others, I also emit energy towards him. Hey, you send energy to me, I send energy to you. What sort of energy? I'm not stupid or blind. I notice, stay in your place, I stay in mine. So, and then he stopped. When you don't notice, that is the problem. And already happened to me. People who are friends, and they start sending energy, sometimes even apparently out of good intention. You guys never, ever try and force help into someone based on some activity that could be intrusive. Somebody's down, is crying, is depressed. You can give some energy to lift up the spirit. That's one thing. A completely different thing is every day, every moment you are with the person, you are trying to make the person react in certain ways and pump some energy because it's very important that the person do this and that, and the person should be better. Your intention is good, but that is suffocating. So I also had this happening in moments that took me a while to observe because, well, they were friends. But it's not nice. It's not nice. So what do you do in a case like this? VELO. What I did in every case of this, VELO. I enter an environment. Sometimes not somebody. The environment keeps like putting pressure on you so that you think and react in certain ways, so that you conform to the quality or pattern or energetic information of what is in that environment from a multidimensional level. And in this case, VELO, VELO, VELO. It's a party, VELO. It's a meeting, VELO. During the meeting, yes, I cannot concentrate so much. Do what you can, so. I promise you that makes a huge difference if people are trying to penetrate you with their abilities. But only people who are not so ethical in using their abilities would do that. You, all of you, you should use your energy to support others, but you should know when it becomes intrusive. That is the thing. And that is one of the points that we emphasize a lot in the consciousness development program. Because there in the CDP, we have a whole class about ethics, cosmic ethics, and how to apply all of this knowledge in an ethical way, because it is a concern of ours. We are not going to just teach somebody to use energy to leave the body and do A, B, C without saying, whatever you think becomes action with energy. Not only for those who took or take the consciousness development program, for anybody, thoughts are action, and people tend not to think of it. Okay? Let me just mark here and here. I'd love to know your thoughts on how consuming alcohol beverage may affect living the body. It affects, but in indirect ways, because consuming alcohol affects a lot the energy body. And if it affects the energy body, it will create some energetic patterns that may interfere. If it is a little bit, perhaps a beer in a very warm day, if it is a glass of wine or two, it will interfere a little. But for people who really drink and allow that to change them out of their absolutely normal inner attitude, their normal self, that can be problematic, because it may prompt some, or allow, facilitate, better saying, some spiritual presences to getting closer to them than ideal. It may generate some connections when the person is outside the body, and the projector may end up going places or meeting people that are not so ideal because of the heavy drinking. What's heavy? Well, each person will have to analyze in their own case. But if, for example, someone is so tense and they are going to drink half a glass of wine, just that bit enough to relax a little bit the muscles, perhaps it can even help. But it's that bit, because if it interferes with the lucidity, and if it interferes with the energetic pattern of the person, the information and the frequency and the vibration and what is connected and the feelings, it will interfere with the projection. Not necessarily preventing the person from leaving the body, but it will interfere in the quality of the projection. I hope I could explain it well. Otherwise, you leave me a continuation down below, okay? Please. Thank you very much, Cherish, for bringing this interesting question. And I'm going to add up something to my answer. You know what sometimes causes the same effect? Let's say, for example, someone is in a hotel, or is in a different city, or is in someone's house, or moved house, or there is some different type of energy that entered the projector's house. That energetic, that presence, I would say energetic presence, a spirit or energy that is present there, creates a change in the energy that can produce the very same effect. But in this case, it was not based on drinking, and it's something that we will fix with energy. In the other case, when it's based on drinking, sometimes the person is not lucid enough, with enough willpower, capacity to use one's will to be able to tackle that situation. Does it make sense? So those are the complexities that we deal with there. Derek is clarifying something about the question that I answered at the beginning, right, Derek? And he's saying, if I am with someone in the astral project and I return to the body, do I just vanish? Yes, you just vanish, disappear. And this happens a lot in the out-of-body experience. And you imagine that if you are communicating with a spirit that you met, you vanish from that conversation or that environment you were in. And John saying the microphone worked well. Thanks, John. Nicole, if someone has passed and I exist out of body, if I see that person, is it truly that person, or they need to project as their soul is in another final frequency? I'll try and make sense of your wording here, okay? If somebody passed away and you are outside the body and you meet that person, how do you know that is the person? You will know based on the energetic information emanating from that being that you are seeing in front of you. It's not related with the appearance. It's related with the energetic code that identify that person, that individual. But here you say, do they need to project as their soul? You mean to project to emanate energy? Is that what you mean by project? I don't understand the wording of your question in full, but you will know based on this energetic information. There are many cases of people who leave their bodies, and young people, and meet someone that was, for example, their grandparents when the grandparents were young. Something they never saw, because they met the grandparents when they were already elder. But they know it's the grandpa, for example, or grandma. They know because they sense it. And that is what is super important to keep an eye on. Never come to a conclusion who you are with when you are outside your body based on their appearance. Never. Okay. Mohammed, how are you doing, Mohammed? Nice to see you here. Is black magic a reality? Very much so, yes. If so, does VELO protect from it? Yes, absolutely. Some mediums told me that I have black magic to prevent me from finding love. Black magic exists, and it does produce effect. Does VELO solve this? Yes. But sometimes, if black magic is there for a very long time, VELO alone won't be enough, because perhaps that black magic already imprinted in you some wrong ideas about yourself, about who you are looking for. And when your energy comes out, comes with that information that may not be conscious to you. So black magic is not necessarily something that will come and preventing you from meeting someone special or preventing you from connecting. It will imprint a pattern in your energy. Does VELO change that? It does. But if you do VELO but keep holding on to that idea, you see that you are working in contradictory ways. You are maintaining the effect of that black magic work with your thoughts, with your focus. That's why it's very important when doing VELO, forget the world, focus on your energy, and any moment you feel, for example, lack of hope coming onto you, you feel you are feeling down or anything, VELO. But then it's the whole day. Be it. Do VELO wherever you are, whenever you can. Because if you do it, it's not going to be forever. You are going to do it enough to prevent that specific information from coming afloat and staying in your energy. Do you understand? Because if somebody would do black magic for you today, and you sense something is wrong, you do VELO, yes, you cleanse it. But if it was 20 years ago, what sort of effect it produced inside of you? VELO can change if you, in your mind, gets determined not to hold on to that pattern. Could I answer that properly? That's why you were with me in the energy force field boot camp, right, Mohammed? If I am not mistaken. So based on what I'm discussing, you will understand why we did the type of exercises we did there, and why we cleansed the energy in the way we cleansed. And sometimes it needs continuation. One must be vigilant of one's thoughts, because the thoughts you have, they are emanating that information. But you are not going to lie to yourself. Oh, okay, I am already with someone I love. I am so happy, and this is a beautiful person. You are with no one at the moment. But that cannot prevent you from saying, I deserve. And if the opportunity is close by, I know I will see and I will attract. And I deserve to respect my energy enough for me to connect with this person and show who I am in a good light. I deserve. I have this inside of me. So this is true, and this you can imprint in your energy, and will make a big difference. I hope I could explain, but absolutely, VELO does a huge difference. And being afraid is the worst of all. The worst of all. Because if one is afraid of black magic energy, one becomes more vulnerable. And there are situations, some countries, some cultures, in which this is so common that people threaten others to do black magic for them in order to control them. And it is such a culture of non-physical beings working for that black magic. The problem with the black magic is not the physical individual who did it, are those non-physical who participated in the work, and they are the ones that carry on the work. So, that is complex world we live in, right? Astral Ouija is saying, do Ouija boards help with astral projection or not? Because my answer was not clear. Or you were not here when I answered your question. They do not help with astral projection. They do not help, okay? And I explained why. That's what I did when I answered your question. Let me... I'm going to go back and go to questions 2. Let me see, time-wise, are you okay for another 10 minutes at least? And I get some other questions. Yes, I hope so. Something opened by mistake here. A comment that has nothing to do, but this Microsoft stuff that keeps opening things that you do not want, and then you do an update and then bring it back. Apologies for this. I know I had a second question from Alexandre, from some others of you. Let me locate it. Question 2 from Derek. You guys write question 2, okay? When it's the second, it helps me in a moment like this. What are attackers doing to us while we cannot perceive them compared to when we can? Do they wait for us to be able to see them? No. They do exactly the same thing. They create emotional turmoils, confusion. They fog our mind. They stop us from focusing. They confuse our thoughts. They may affect us energetically in a way that we, for example, have sensations or have some chakras that are blocked or fogged. So there are so many different things, and sometimes they can even create some effects in the environment so that other people react towards us in ways that doesn't make sense. So other people would attack us, or other people would be mad, or other people would have problems and then prevent us from doing what we want. So there are many different ways. And this will be truth for everybody. Everybody. Some people are more conscious of it, which in a way it's better, because one can do something about it and learn and understand what's going on, and do not confuse that interference, energetic interference, with who they are. That's why I say one must know their truth. Otherwise, these things come, you, all of you, will be confused. Is this my principles? Oh, do I have this type of thought? Do I want to give up on that project? Oh, am I wasting time with this? Know your truth. Know yourself. Otherwise, these things will keep making you go up and down, diverting your direction. But this sort of thing is what happens, Derek. I hope I could explain what was missing there. Another question from, she's clarifying the first one, right? Do you, Nancy, continue relating to specific beings that you met, or communities that you have come in agreement, that you have come to be with, in addition to people here? I do, and everyone does, for periods of time. Sometimes there is one specific, especially some spiritual mentors. They would be with one for a period of time until a certain task is done, until a certain phase is going on to support their work. But in the same way, all of us may have some presences, spiritual companions who are not very advanced, who are just same level as we are. And they may create some sort of relationship that is not necessarily affecting and hurting, trying to destroy something, but it's not positive either. And in this case, it tends not to be positive at all, because there shouldn't be a connection unless it is to help you to be more lucid. That's what each of you have to aim at. So there are periods in which there would be someone trying to disturb. Can say that I can recognize that throughout my life. Nowadays, not so much. More the spiritual mentors I would recognize nowadays. That does not mean negative energies would come, but when they come, it's more an interference that after a while, that spirit is gone, that entity is gone. Someone else may come to create other types of problems. Yes, they may have an agenda to stop Nancy from doing this or that, from achieving this, from teaching this, from writing that book. Yeah, they have their agenda. But especially spirit mentors are those that once you work with energy, once you did a good energy force field in your house, once things are established, they are the ones that tend to be for longer. Months, weeks, some years. Which ones? That's what varies. If you have taken the consciousness development program, or if you intend to take, this is explained in details, because there are many arguments that are needed so that we can see this from a broader perspective. But anyway, here's the answer. The best and most blunt I could be. there is a comment from Mohammed I'm going to share with all of you. Just thank you so much for your answer, dear Nancy. Indeed, it seems I have black magic since I was a child. I will change my mind and do VELO to overcome it. Yes, and you imagine if it's since you were a child, so much of how you see yourself went through that veil, that energy that was impregnated. But, you know, I know you. I have been talking to you for couple of years at least, or more here. I know you. You are already partially out of it to great degree, because the type of question you ask and the type of thing you experience now is very different than 3 years ago. But of course, you sense something is still there. You have to do a deeper cleansing. And one of the things that you can try and do is, what sort of thought pattern, and I'm saying thought is energy. Thought is energy. But when you recognize the thought, you may recognize what energy is behind it. And what sort of thought pattern is with me since ever, that I feel, in a way, it undermines my confidence. It undermines my self-love, my power. It makes me feel lower than I am, less than I am, less valuable than I am. What is it? Because it may have interfered in many different ways. Sometimes also the education you received contributed to that. Because, guys, let's talk about black magic. Perhaps not the most interesting discussion, but let's talk about it. An important one, however. If black magic was present, let's assume you are saying it was, I will think you know what you are talking about. But if black magic was present, then it not only affected you, but the energy around of you, people, how they would see you. Did that prompt any specific action on your parents, on neighbors, colleagues, buddies from school, from the street? Did they also ended up affecting you and hurting you in different ways because they were also consumed, influenced by those energy? And not knowing anything about any details, I'm bringing this from a broader perspective, just to help you think, because there may be things that were difficult to you, that made you suffer, and you keep them in mind, trying to understand and make sense of them, and trying to cope with them because of all of this. And most of the time, and that's what happens to most of the people, you would tend not to consider the level of intrusion that was present in those situations. Meaning, I didn't have to go through that. That's not my karma, that's not who I am. That does not define me. That influenced who I am today, because it was an experience of this life, but I am not that. And whatever situation created this synchronicity that some sort of black magic was present, I want to identify it and handle it. Look at it in the eyes. Figuratively speaking, there is no one there for you to look at the eyes. But face it. Don't be afraid. And I'm going to tell you guys a story. When I was maybe around 19, I was just starting to study about energy. I knew very little. I was reading some books, but I had experiences. I did not know what my experiences were. And I was at my parents' house. I was living with them. And one day, I was sitting in the sofa. I came from school very late. I had to walk 3 kilometers which is what, like 2 miles, roughly? One way to go to school and another way back. And in the morning to go to work and back. Because we couldn't afford a public transportation. So it was tough. And I arrived from school that evening and everybody was sleeping. It was maybe 11 in the night or something that I arrived home. And I sit on the sofa to have some tea. I don't remember exactly, but I know I was sitting on the sofa. And all of a sudden, how can I explain this? Things started shaking. The sofa, everything, there would be noise, unexplainable noise, because nothing was shaking. There was no earthquake. But it was as if, and I could not sit in a comfortable position because I was super scared, alone. That started making noise on the ceiling. I will repeat, no earthquake. I was in a very small city and I knew that was energetic. I did not know what to do with that thing. And later on, and today I know very well, there was loads of this sort of black magic being done in the neighborhood. And where the house where I lived would become a focus of envy because we were different. We were studying, going to school, we were trying to become better people. My mother would work and make all of us go to school, whilst the other ones, they were lost. And that is the neighborhood. So I had to endure that. And in the moment that I felt everything shaking, and I was alone, super afraid, what would I do? What did I do? Immediately, I started emitting energy. I closed my eyes, I was sitting, and I started so that my energy would reach every object, would reach the walls. My feeling was that something was going on the walls. And in no time, that stopped. People would do black magic work at the gate of our house, in front of the house, and say, how can we did not know anything about this, but my mother was super positive. And my father, they would say, I don't care, I don't believe in any of this. But she would know something was there. She knew much more than she ever spoke about. But my mother, then she would tell me that sometimes she would find ugly objects, things that people would throw, like a voodoo stuff there. Okay, we survived. We managed to go out of that place, out of that house, move to a better house, go to a better place, continue our studies. Was it easy? No, very hard, very hard. But we could. Why? Because my mother, and I'm saying this, Mohammed, for you to see the importance of certain things, because my mother never let go in her mind of the idea, we are going to be well. We are not going to give in. We are not going to return these negative thoughts. We are not going to do anything to disturb anybody. We will continue studying, working, being honest, and doing our best. And we had to endure because things were in the level of materialization even. It was not a joke. So that was tough. And actually, I think that was much before my 19 years, now that I am thinking better of the period with all of that. So what about those who didn't have someone in the house, like my mother, to say, no, we are going to endure this. We are not going to change who we are and our character. We are not going to let go of hope for a better life. That's what my mother did. So it was very difficult for those intruders that were brought there and stayed by those black magic, but it was hard for them to go too deep into their actions. And I can imagine how many people in different neighborhoods go through similar things and do not find the proper tools to be strong enough. So now look back, not based on my story, but I shared so that I show you guys, this is life, and life is multidimensional. I was there, sitting on a sofa, and everything was shaking, and I could stop it with my energy. And that was not the only time in my life it happened. Life is not physical, but imagine how many things happen in a level that we may not be seeing. That's why it's important that you are aligned with who you are, and that you reduce to the best of your capacity external interferences, energy, presence, spirits that would come and interfere. It is super critical that you do this with your mind, with your positivity, with energy work. You need energy to counteract all of these, because things reach you via energy. It's not only a thought. Thoughts carry energy. It reaches you via energy. It's an energy. You have to use energy. So here are the tools. Those of you who are not familiar with the VELO technique, that is the tool I use. And sometimes I have to face tough stuff. VELO, for those who are not familiar with the expression, you search, you will find information here in the channel. What is VELO? How to do VELO? And it's absolutely possible for everybody. Sometimes it's hard, not because the person cannot do or do not know how to do, just because there are so many things being worked on that it seems like, wow, there is too much to do with this VELO, and I almost can't see where is the end of this work. If you are feeling like this, welcome aboard. Yes, because you are really cleansing it. If you move to a house that has been abandoned for 2 decades, there were a bunch of homeless who lived there, and everything is in disarray, you are going to cleanse it. You will have to be patient. First, you need to dismantle many things. You need to come with I forgot the name, what you use to sand the wall. And you have to sand the wall. You have to break parts. You have to renew parts. You perhaps have to remove the whole floor and redo it. Sometimes for some people, that's what VELO is. For others, it's just a general cleansing. For others, it's just adjusting some chakras. Who is better? There is no better or worse. We are dealing with the situation that is in front of us. For some reason it's there. You know who you are. You deal with the situation, because it's always possible. When we talk about the energy world, the spirit world, it's always possible. And that's the sort of energy that you will use to manifest what you want, to change who you are, to change your life, because you are using energy. Because when we think only in physical terms, some transformations are impossible. But when you add a layer of the energetic and spiritual reality all intermingled with this reality, then it becomes possible. Okay? Very interesting point you brought, Mohammed. And that sometimes I almost don't talk much about this, and people get afraid, but the truth is the truth, and I think the truth is liberating. It's better than someone sensing something is wrong and not knowing what's wrong. But black magic is something that is done with a specific intention, and there are hooks, there are objects, materials, specific spiritual entities that participate. But if someone hates you, is mad at you, is envy at you, it's not black magic. But you receive those energy, and you have to cope with it. You have to handle it. Perhaps it's just a little, and you just being positive is enough for that not to reach you. Absolutely, it's possible. Great. Is it possible for everybody? No, because the level of sensitivity is different, the past history is different, the type of energetic influences are different. So you should, in my opinion, all of you get to know the most advanced technique. Get to know what would work for you in the hardest of the conditions, then what is simple, easy, busy, now it's done. That's the idea. And that's why I teach all of this. I'm going to leave for you guys over here a video that you can click to know more about VELO and self-defense. If you are interested in going deep into studying out-of-body experience and all of this reality, Consciousness Development Program, you have a link in the description. And if you want a one-on-one chat, my support for you to go steps ahead with all of this, also take a look. Consciousness Compass. There is the tool for you to be able to reach me, okay? I look forward to seeing you in our next live talks. And I certainly will be here. I am doing my best to plan a specific date so that all of you will know ahead. Second Saturday every month, we have a conversation with Nancy. I would love it. I'm trying to organize my schedule in a way that I can do it, because I also teach classes for the Consciousness Development Program and other programs of the International Academy of Consciousness. I am a volunteer there. But it's such a beautiful work that the IAC does. It's such a organization, a place, an environment. I don't mean environment only in the physical sense. I mean the type of community that we can have, the type of dialogue that we can have, that is so special that I feel like I cannot let go of my contribution or of contributing to that, because that's something important that the world will miss if it's not there. And there is no other alike. And believe me, I know many people, many organizations, good ones. There is no other alike the International Academy of Consciousness. So that's why sometimes it's tough for me to find time. I have to coordinate with all of this. That's it. Thank you so much. I hope you took great benefit of this conversation. Take a look at the video that I leave here for you to watch. And I will be in contact with you soon for another live talk. Okay? Goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for being here with me.